We'll take you on an amazing journey to a colorful pop-up exhibit.
And you'll meet some folks who don't need Halloween as an excuse to get into costume. All that and more next on Urban Nights Update.
Hi, and thanks for joining us here at Urban Nights Update. Elena Simon is sitting in with me. I'm Chris Petrozzi, and here's what's happening. Authorities in New York City are still searching for why a driver would mow down and kill 8 people. This happening Tuesday afternoon. Witnesses say after striking more than 15 pedestrians, the suspect, Saifullah Habibullavic Saipov, jumped out of his car and yelled, "Allah Akbar," Arabic for God is great. The suspect was later taken into custody. Authorities think he was acting alone and have no evidence that he was a part of a larger conspiracy.
In other news, President Trump has begun using Twitter to react to Monday's news of 2 arrests linking former campaign staff to Russia. That's in addition to surprising news that a former campaign foreign policy advisor, George Papadopoulos, has pleaded guilty for lying to the FBI. President Trump said on Twitter that Papadopoulos was only a volunteer on the campaign and has proven to be a liar. There are rumors that Papadopoulos may have accepted a plea bargain for leniency in exchange for naming names in implicating others.
Several Republican lawmakers don't want to see any attempts to cut off funding for special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. The investigation is on Russian election meddling and possible collusion with President Trump's campaign. When asked whether there should be a law to prevent Trump from firing Mueller, Republican Senator McCain said there would be a huge public backlash that a law wouldn't be necessary. Other Senate Republicans at this point seem to be taking a larger stance and maintain that an investigation to be played out to an American public will know exactly what has transpired. Russian influence remains a major issue on Capitol Hill, where social media companies began testimony Tuesday. Lawmakers for Facebook, Google, and Twitter appeared at hearings to reveal how Russian trolls use their platforms to influence thousands of people. A Russia group posted more than 80,000 times on Facebook during and after the election. Twitter uncovered and shut down more than 2,700 accounts linked to Russia's internet research agency known for promoting pro-Moscow messages. Congress is trying to determine to what extent Russia influenced the outcome of the 2016 presidential election and its impact on domestic conflict.
Let's join Alma Lenthorpe, who has more international news.
Thank you. Today I will take you outside America to see what's going on in the rest of the world. We will start with the movement of the hashtag #MeToo that have been shaking the world during the last couple of weeks. The movement has now spread across the globe to countries like Sweden, Pakistan and Czech Republic. Both famous and non-famous women have shared stories and experiences on social media,
Facebook will be
but they have
cracking
also
down on
gotten
fake news.
together to manifest
during the
against sexual harassment. This one you see right now is one in France. Another movement for women's rights is ongoing in Saudi Arabia. It is decided that next year, 3 of the big sports stadiums in the country will accept whole families and not just men. Also in September this year, women in Saudi Arabia were allowed to obtain driver's license and drive without a man in the car. Even though there is still a long way to go, women are still under male guardianship. They can't open their own bank accounts or get a passport without an approval from a man. From Saudi Arabia to Europe, a hard storm has caused a difficult flood in Central Europe. At least 5 people have died, many have been injured and thousands have lost their electricity. In Germany's Hamburg, the water level of the river Elbe increased and caused problems for traffic. Warnings have extended to the border countries. A country that didn't get hit by that type of storm is Spain, but on the other hand, it is still in the middle of another situation. The government has a big crisis after election of Catalonia's independence. In the beginning of October, they voted for independence, even though Spain didn't approve. After chaos and fights on the streets, the Spanish government had meetings to find a way to stop Catalonia to be on its own. A new election is on hold to see if Spain can take the control of Catalonia again. Last but not least, we take a look in North Korea, where Kim Jong-un visited a makeup factory. He looks happy and says that these products will help women to become beautiful. That's it for international news. Now back with other news.
Thanks, Alma. Sexual harassment allegations against Kevin Spacey is leading to the cancellation of House of Cards on Netflix. This is a result of accusation made by actor Anthony Rapp, who claims Spacey tried to have sex with him when he was 14 years old. Spacey combined an apology with an announcement that he is now living as a gay man. He's being criticized for coming out under these circumstances. House of Cards producers announced that the show will be ending after its 6th season, but may have a spinoff. Jeremy Piven from the show Entourage has also been accused of sexual harassment. This from Arian Bellemare, who made an appearance on the show. He is the most recent to be added to the growing list of actors who have been accused of sexual harassment. Bellerman said he harassed her on 2 different occasions, once on the set of Entourage and another at the Playboy Mansion. Piven has not responded to Bellerman.
The Harvey Weinstein movement is far away from over. Every day, more women are sharing their stories of sexual harassment allegations against men. Since the scandal broke, many powerful men have lost their jobs. One of them is Mark Hallerpan from NBC News. He was fired after he'd been accused by 5 women for sexual harassment. Another one is the celebrity chef, John Besh, who won't be in the kitchen for a while after 25 women made allegations against him. Recently, employees sued Tesla for discrimination. An employer says she was both catcalled and taunted by her male coworkers. She got fired, and after, she sued the company for gender discrimination and unequal pay. Tesla says in the history of Tesla, there has never been a single proven case of discrimination against the company, not one. They also mentioned that they take all the complaints seriously.
California has shown to be a state that is open to gender orientation. But even with that, life for transgender adults still has its challenges, but mirrors much of the rest of the state. According to UCLA's California Health Interview Survey, 32% of transgender adults live below the poverty line, while roughly 30% of cisgender adults live below the poverty line. Even food is unbalanced, as over 60% of the transgender adults do not get enough to eat.
The price of gas in California will be going up within the week as the winter season comes around. It will be a 3 to 5 cent increase per gallon instead of the full 12 because of the small demand for gas compared to the summertime. The bill, SB 1, is the reason for the increase. This bill is to help raise a $5 billion fund to fix potholes, reduce congestion on major highways, and promote bicycling. Gas is always fluctuating, so we will see how things pan out in the next few months. If you prefer to travel on an airplane for your next trip, prepare to spend more time at the TSA checkpoint. Recently, TSA has issued a new rule for travelers to place small electronic devices in bins to be inspected, such as e-readers, cameras, and small gaming devices. A TSA spokesperson says their procedure helps agents better inspect devices for what could contain explosive substances.
Don't get your crab feet on just yet this season. Large amounts of algae caused by warm waters has created a natural-born toxin called domic acid. It has been surfacing across the North Coast ports. According to test results from California Department of Public Health, high level of toxins have been found in samples of Dungeness crab. This issue could lead to health advisors to sport fishermen to remove the intestinal parts of the crab before eating it. There is a chance that professional crab season may be delayed and shortened as the past 2 years when the same situation occurred. Confusion of the existence of Obamacare is scaring potential people from signing up. Open enrollment begins November 1st. After repeated repeals by Congress and Trump cutting funds to programs, it is still up and running, but people may believe it no longer exists or that insurance premiums are way up.
Let's check in with Jonathan Navarro and find out the latest in sports here in the Bay Area.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Navarro, and I'm here to give you the inside scoop on Bay Area sports. Tonight, I'll give you the latest results in Urban Knight Nation. This past week, the Academy of Art soccer teams traveled to sunny Southern California to play their last away games of the year. The women started things off against Azusa Pacific. With 22 minutes left to play in the first half, Academy of Art senior midfielder Abby Chavez was able to score a penalty kick to put the Urban Knights ahead. However, in the 43rd minute, Azusa's Kennedy Christie would level things up at 1 apiece. In the second half, the Cougars would add to their goal tally from a left-footed Caitlin Rogers shot. Cougars go up 2-1. With 20 to play, Rogers would score her second of the night to put the Cougars up 3-1. Although the Urban Knights started on top, the Cougars would run away with the game and win 5-1. Now to the men's soccer game. The Urban Knights would also play a conference match against Azusa Pacific. It was a tight matchup until the end of the first half. With 11 minutes to play, Alexander Pompovich would put the Cougars on top from a right-footed curling free kick from right outside the box. In the second half, the Cougars would increase their lead with a Colin Wallace tap-in. Arturo Astorga earns himself the assist. With 11 minutes to play, the Cougars' goalkeeper would wind up for a goal kick when suddenly the lights went out. This would cause a strange 20-minute delay. Once the lights were back on, senior Alex Walsh was able to make a brilliant run and find me to score for the Urban Knights. Despite the late goal, the Cougars win the match 2-1. Although the Urban Knights men's soccer team suffered a defeat, they have proven to be an up-and-coming program. Isaiah Quitos has more.
Academy of Art University is a place for young artists to go and excel. However, it is also a place for young athletes to attend as well. Head coach Michael Keller talks about the types of players he looks for.
Well, there's a lot of things. You know, there's 5 parts of the player: technical, tactical, physical, mental, and emotional, and the buildup of those will give you the player. For us, we look a lot at the personality of the guys. How are they under adversity? How are they as a young man? Are they going to mature well with the team? And then also we're obviously looking at the technical abilities, so guys who can play under pressure, and the physical abilities that can compete at the collegiate level, which is a lot of physical demand.
Even though you might not think an art school would have a soccer program, the expectations are still high.
Since it is the 10th year in program history, the season is a bit more special, and the team and the coach hope to be successful.
We'd really like to establish ourselves as above average, looking to win the conference program. I think the Pac-West is going to have a conference tournament in the next 3 to 4 years, and we'd really like to cement ourselves as someone who's going to be vying to be in the conference playoffs every year.
For people that are athletic artists, senior forward Alex Walsh believes this could be the best of both worlds.
You know, I just say that, you know, this is a good program. It's a new program compared to a lot of Division II and collegiate athletics in general. But the guys here are great. It's a really good laugh. And you know, at the end of the day, we're still here to get results. So if you're serious and competitive and you're a good player, then maybe this is the school for you.
The Academy of Art University looks to make a name for themselves in the league. In San Francisco, I'm Isaiah Quitos with your Urban Knights Update.
The Academy of Art women's volleyball team found themselves in a rivalry matchup against the Dominican Penguins for conference play. The Penguins would start off hot with an 8-2 lead. They would then extend their lead to 15-5. That's when the Urban Knights began to rally back. The Knights brought the game within 3 to make it 23-20, but the Penguins would win the first set 25-20 on their home turf. The Penguins would also prevail in the second set with the scoreline of 25-19. In the third set, it was do or die for the Knights. Early on, there would be a 15-6 separation with the Penguins in control. The Knights would go on an 8-1 run and eventually bring it to within 4 points with a score of 21-17. Unfortunately for the visitors, the Penguins would finish off the sweep with a 25-17 set victory. That's all we have for this week's latest in the sports world. I'm Jonathan Navarro. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. RU Urban Knights men's basketball has some new faces this season. Anthony Silva sits down with point guard Dante Williams.
Thank you. I'm here with Dante Williams, sophomore point guard for Academy of Art Urban Knights. Dante, what are the expectations for this season?
With our season starting next weekend, I'm expecting us to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of focus. There's been a lot of talk of having a better year now. Last year and a few previous years, we haven't had too good of years. But this year with a new recruiting class and a couple transfers, I think it'll be a solid year.
Okay, great. In terms of the new recruiting class, how have you guys pushed them to get them more prepared, obviously, for a more physical game in the collegiate level?
Actually, we have a lot more transfers than we do freshmen. Right now, we only have 3 freshmen. So a lot of the transfers, they've been able to work with the freshmen and work with a lot of the returners, and they've been able to give them that experience. We've been officially practicing for about 2 weeks now. So I think just working together and getting used to the pace is the best way for the freshmen to get used to the collegiate level.
Okay. And what about Coach Lorenzo, your new assistant coach, will be with Coach Barnes? How has he been really welcoming you guys and having you guys prepared for this season with a new face?
Most of the time, Coach Lorenzo works with the bigs right now. I mean, we don't really have a big man coach, so he's filling that position. But I think he's doing a real good job with the lack of height that we really have. He's taming them to be as best of a big as they can to play that role. And then as far as him working with the rest of the team, he gives his input. He fits in with us well. He's still trying to work with us just like we're trying to work with him.
Perfect. And you got hurt on me, man. What happened? Like, with your injury? How are you able to now say, okay, how can I work with my teammates the best way I can now? It's really a leadership role, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's the same way I was trying to look at it. I look at this, even when I was practicing, I was stepping more into that leadership role as we lost some of our seniors last year. But now I think this gives me a better opportunity to see how I can lead off the court. For instance, if I was playing, this gives me an opportunity to see how I would lead when I come out the game and not just on the court. So being a leader for this whole year without being able to play, I think it's really just a test for me.
So last question, in terms of like IQ, now you'll be able to think you see more things, you'll be able to watch more film, is that definitely?
Yeah, I've even started watching my film from last year, seeing how I played. It was a rough year for me last year. I went up and down, but I think now just being able to see what the coaches see on the sidelines during the games, it'll help me. It'll be able to translate onto the court when I come back next year.
Yeah, definitely be a better floor manager. Yeah. Thanks for your time, Dante, and back to you guys.
Thank you, Anthony and Dante. Every year, San Francisco celebrates cultural diversity through supporting the annual Indonesian cultural event. Putri Tanjung was there in person to witness the latest celebration.
Night of Cultural Diversity is an annual event that aims to celebrate, commemorate, and introduce the Indonesian culture in San Francisco. It is done through showcasing Indonesian art, dance, and music. This year's event is held at the Cowell Theater Fort Mason Center. This event is filled with extraordinary performances from gamelan and traditional Indonesian dance groups. Gamelan is a traditional Indonesian ensemble music which originated from West Java, Central Java, and Bali region. The performing groups are 80% comprised of local Americans. It includes Wayne Vitali from Gamelan Sekarjaya.
I started playing gamelan in 1979 when this group first began, because I was a student with another gentleman named Michael Tenzer, and he had just come from Indonesia. He was there on a Fulbright scholarship, and he had a full set of gamelan instruments, and then we started this group.
Mike Hill, an Indonesian culture enthusiast, traveled all the way from Portland, Oregon to see the event.
Well, I love Indonesia so much because of all the islands, all the different ethnic groups. I studied cultural anthropology in school, so I just am absolutely fascinated.
With more than 5,000 Indonesians living in San Francisco, Mike hopes that this event can further enhance the diplomatic and relationship ties between Indonesians and Americans.
A lot of Americans that will be really fascinated with Indonesia if they could even know where it is on a map. Most Americans don't even know where it is on a map. They certainly don't know that it's the world's 4th most populous country in the world. So I think a lot of things Americans would be inspired if they learned more, had more people-to-people relationships with Americans and Indonesians. That's really what I would like to see eventually happen.
One of the perks of living in San Francisco is the opportunity for us to celebrate and experience the diversity of different cultures. In San Francisco, I'm Putri Tanjung for Urban Nights Update.
Thank you, Putri. For those of you who are interested in experiencing and learning different cultures, check out eventbrite.com to skim through the list of cultural events around you.
It's Halloween season and the spooky and wicked are about. In the spirit of this holiday, Isaiah Quiros set out to ask people what scares them the most. Let's take a look.
My biggest fear is being tickled, and it's because I'm very ticklish and I stop breathing and I panic when I get tickled.
Biggest fear and why going broke and living like half the other people in San Francisco.
Flying, because I have a fear that I'm just gonna come crashing down.
I don't have any fears.
You have no fears?
No fears at all.
And why is that?
Because I fear God. There's no reason to have a fear. Probably, if we're speaking in technical terms, my biggest fear would be failing. Failure is my biggest fear, and because I feel like I have a lot to prove, so that would be the reason why I feel failure.
Cosplay has become a huge trend. There has been an increase in conventions that require people to dress up as their favorite character from movies, TV, or cartoons. Sterling Hawkins met some folks who know all about that.
With Comic-Con finishing just this July, it gives many people motivation to post for pictures and show off their Instagrams. They dress in their favorite characters from video games to animes and create an entirely different persona. Zoe is a hobbyist in cosplay. She has been doing cosplay for about 5 years. For her, she does it for fun and more recreational purposes.
I like to dress up since I was young, and I didn't know back then that there's a cosplay community or just cosplay in general. And then back in 2014, my cousin invited me to do a photo shoot with her, as two characters from Attack on Titan. And then,
Zoe goes to Cosplay Shopper to get most of her costumes. While it takes days to get ready, find a photographer, and edit all the photos. It is a lot of planning and more than what it appears to be.
There we go.
In cosplay, there are different types of ways to show off. Photo shoots and conventions both have a separate process, and Felicia knows both.
I feel like a lot of cosplayers put a lot more detail in cosplay for photo shoot, even though they're doing the same costume, because for events they mainly want to do stuff that are not so hard to move in and the simpler costumes, and sometimes they're rushing to get it done on time, so they're like, okay, this is done, I can do it.
Cosplay is a way to socialize and become a person or thing that you want to be. You just might see a person dressed up and now you can put a name to a face. Or you can start dressing up for as little as $4. In San Francisco, I'm Sterling Hawkins on Urban Nights Update.
For more on the Halloween edition of our entertainment segment, let's go to Shirley Pan.
It's been an eventful weekend with Halloween coming up. If you haven't seen a good costume, we got you. Gwyneth Paltrow and her boyfriend paid tribute to her thriller 7. In the movie, Brad Pitt was given a box by a serial killer. The twister was that Paltrow's severed head was in the box. Paltrow dressed up as her butchered character. She had a cardboard box around her head and a shocked expression on her face. Her boyfriend wore an orange jumpsuit, a pair of white sneakers, and handcuffs. The Weinstein Company released its first movie after the Harvey Weinstein scandal. Amityville: The Awakening was set to be released in 2015. It finally made it to 10 locations across the country on Saturday, just in time for Halloween. The movie featured Bella Thorne and Jennifer Morrison. The movie grossed a mere $742 domestically. There are reasons other than the scandal behind this. Not only was the movie shelved for 2 years, there was no marketing put into the film's release. After Halloween, the holiday season is just around the corner. Even though Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year for most of us, it might be the hardest time of the year for some. A Bad Mom's Christmas gave us a look at Christmas from an underappreciated and most definitely overburdened mom's perspective. Starring Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Katherine Hain, A Bad Mom's Christmas hits the theaters on November 1st. Let's take a look.
I don't think I can do this sober.
You guys want to get drunk at the food court?
Ooh,
Yeah. I do this how I like. I'm D-Bo.
I feel like a giant stress ball from like November to New Year's.
Yeah.
I spent months picking out the perfect present for everyone. You know the only thing I get in return? Coupons for free back rubs.
That's not okay.
Bad back rubs.
Remember when the holidays were actually fun? Let's take Christmas back.
Mom?
Hey, Mom.
Where's your tree?
I didn't want to waste time Christmas tree shopping. I actually just wanted to enjoy Christmas this year.
Amy, you are a mom. Moms don't enjoy, they give joy. That's how being a mom works.
After nearly 10 months of dating, Selena Gomez and The Weeknd might be parting ways. Multiple sources confirmed their split. The news came shortly after Gomez was seen having breakfast with her on-again, off-again ex-boyfriend, Justin Bieber, on Sunday morning. Witnesses say it was a friendly meal and that there was no PDA. The Weeknd has since unfollowed her friends and family on Instagram. Neither of them have commented on this so far. For the first time since the life-saving kidney transplant last summer, Selena Gomez and her best friend and kidney donor, Francia Riza, opened up about the procedure. As a result of arthritis and autoimmune disease lupus, Gomez's kidneys were shutting down. She was unable to find a match amongst family members, and the donor list was 7 to 10 years long. Her best friend offered to get tested, and they soon found out she was a match. After the surgery, the singer got a space for them to heal side by side. Christina Aguilera is getting ready for a special performance at this year's American Music Awards. The 36-year-old singer will be paying tribute to the late Whitney Houston and her work in The Bodyguard for its upcoming 25th anniversary. She'll be performing the most memorable tracks from the movie's soundtrack. The American Music Awards will air live from Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles on November 19th. Last but not least, I had the chance to visit the Color Factory. Let's take a look at why it has been so popular the past few months. Imagine walking into a huge bag of Skittles, because that's what walking into the Color Factory feels like. With a confetti room, a balloon room, and best of all, a giant ball pit, the Color Factory will have you jumping up and down. Olive Blair, niece of the founder of the pop-up experience in San Francisco, told me how everything started.
Color Factory, it's an interactive art exhibit that sort of explores color as experience. So every room focuses on a different color and a different experience to go with that color. And it was started by Jordan Fernie of the blog Oh Happy Day and a couple other artists. San Francisco is the first location, and it's the only location for now. It's all up in the air right now.
The Color Factory opened on the very last day of July. Tickets are $35 each. They went on sale a few weeks before the exhibition opened, and it sold out within 2 hours.
We had an original date that we wanted to go to, but it was it sold out super quick, so we had to settle for this day. So I'm just expecting to see a lot of colors, and hopefully she'll get to enjoy it a little bit more. So it's more for her, I think, yeah.
Stepping into the Color Factory is like stepping into your childhood dream. From blue to white to orange, the experience offers us great insight into just how powerful colors truly are. A trip to the Color Factory is a special experience for those who are lucky enough to get tickets. But it was even more special for Marty, an art teacher in San Francisco.
I just got engaged in the Color Factory, so there was a lot more rooms than I thought there would be. I thought there might be like 3 or 4. I guess I didn't do my research enough to do, but I kind of left it up to that, and I didn't want to research it too much because I wanted everything to be kind of like a surprise and see what's actually there.
The Color Factory runs till November 17th. As of right now, the creators are not sure if they will bring the Color Factory back anytime soon. If you missed it this time, be sure to follow them on social media so you don't miss the next one. In San Francisco, I'm Shirley Pan, and this has been your Urban Nights Update. That's all for this week's entertainment. Thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Shirley. That Color Factory looks like a lot of fun.
Well, that's it for this edition of Urban Nights Update. For everyone here, thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Petrozzi.
And I'm Elena Simon. See you back next time. Have a great, safe Halloween.
Because I had the anchors wrong on the thing, and the reason why is because when we lost the package, I had to reformat some stuff, and I didn't change all the anchor names. Okay. So you slow down, but that's not why we're redoing it. You came back, you started talking before your video was over, and so we have to just redo that part so that we can get it right at the edit. And when you came back, you were waiting for your color factory thing to be over, and you were going like this, so then when the camera was on you, you're still swaying back and forth like this, so we're gonna get you still, okay? All right, so we're gonna do some redos, and Claire will, not Claire, yeah, Claire will tell you which one we're gonna redo, okay?
Ready? Yeah. You first. So just the last part?
Final set?
Just the last part? Okay.